Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're looking forward to today's webinar. We're going to talk about how to pitch your online directory. Should be a great topic. With us today, we have Emerson and Gabriel from our marketing team. Hi, guys.
Hi, James. Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Great. Yeah, thanks, guys. And just some logistics before we get started here. First, if you have any questions or comments during the webinar, just drop them into the chat, and we will stop periodically, as well as we'll answer more anything on this topic or anything else at the end of the webinar as well. And also, we will be recording this webinar and posting a copy onto the eDirectory.com blog. That you can find if you go to the footer on eDirectory.com, the blog, and within 24 hours or so, we will have that up. And finally, after the webinar, we will have a survey just to get some feedback from you. So if you can, please fill out and give us some feedback on the webinar. We're trying to make them better with every run. So great. And we have some next events. On the 26th of June, we're going to talk about the eDirectory apps, the mobile apps. These are the native mobile apps. And also we have a new release coming. It's eDirectory. It's actually 13.5 in early July. And if you order today, an upgrade will be included. So don't worry about waiting for that. But we will have a webinar coming up to talk about that as soon as we have the date confirmed. We're getting close to the end of that cycle though. So we should have an announcement about that coming in the next week or two. Great. And for anybody new here, just a little background on eDirectory. This is the platform that we sell. It is used for building directory style websites and apps for any industry or purpose. These are great for building online guides, lead generation sites, review sites, all sorts of things you can possibly think of. It has different modules for doing listings as well as events, classifieds, articles, blogs, etc. As well, it's highly customizable without coding being required. So there's a WYSIWYG editor where you can drag and drop widgets, change colors, fonts, put in your branding, all of that sort of thing. There's also an integrated native app builder where you can build mobile apps and submit them to your own Apple and Android store accounts where people can download them to their phones. And we do have a version with source code available as well if you do want to do customizations yourself, integrate with legacy systems, that sort of thing. We have a custom dev team internally as well if you want to get a quote for any custom work. And you can request a live demo on eDirectory.com anytime, and we can discuss more your specific needs. Okay, well, great. So to get started, today we're going to talk about how to pitch your online directory. This is a sales pitch that you're going to do. So first, just in terms of background on the typical eDirectory sales process or directory site sales process in terms of selling listings and selling sponsorships, etc. People use eDirectory for all sorts of things, and there's many different uses and many ways people sell it, but typically, a directory site is used to provide detailed information, comparisons, recommendations for products and services within certain categories or locations, local guides, that sort of thing. These guides are used to help consumers make purchasing decisions, and by offering market insights into various options available. And so essentially the process for this sales process basically goes like, first you generate awareness where people are aware of the guide and what you're doing, and you're featuring listings, and then you see if they want to be a part of it. Hey, do you want to join the guide, set up a listing, etc. And then you can upsell them and get them to get a paid listing or a paid sponsorship. And then, as they find success and all the, the great business that you sent them through your website, hopefully you can get them to advocate for you and provide testimonials and that sort of thing as far as that goes. So that's the typical sales process. And what we're going to talk today is about this section between where you're getting sort of engagement and making making a client out of them, how to pitch it. And actually even a little bit before that, because sometimes the first piece of it is actually just pitching people on becoming a part of the guide and signing up for their listing. Thinking about your pitch is probably the first thing you want to do, and like, what are you trying to achieve? It's often a multi-step process in terms of first you need to get them involved, and then you need to turn them into convert them into a paying customer. So we typically recommend starting with a free listing, and then getting customers and sponsors to claim that listing. eDirectory has a feature in the system where listing owners can claim the listing. So you import the data, it creates listings throughout the site, sets up the categories, etc., and then people can claim it. And then the next step on that is getting them engaged with their listing, beyond just claiming it, responding to reviews, etc. And the other thing that you can do is feature them in other non-listing content. You can feature them in blog entries or articles. Often people that do these sites write articles about what's new, or what's new in town, or what's new in the category, that type of thing. And so you can feature these visitors. And then the next step in the pitch is upgrading to the paid plan. And so there's typically a cycle. Sometimes you can get them right in one shot and convert somebody that isn't part of your site into a paid customer immediately. But many times there's various pitches that you'll do just to move them along this process, this journey to become a paid customer. The next thing to do after you've thought about what you're specifically trying to accomplish with the pitch is identify your targets, because there are different customer personas even within the same market that you're going for. Some of the customers, potential customers, may be large corporations where you're dealing with an individual that needs to have get approval for budgets and put it into a process for everything, where the content that's going up needs to get approved and the images need to get approved and all that sort of thing. And that may be a little bit of a different pitch than, say, the next one I mentioned was a franchisee, which may be somebody that owns a local store that's part of a bigger network, and then they may have some of that corporate stuff, but they also you may be able to reach the individual decision maker. Some of them are small businesses, family-owned businesses, or just small businesses that you can reach out to and do a pitch there. And then, depending on the industry, some of them are individual practitioners, where you just it's a very quick sale potentially, where you have somebody there that can just make an immediate decision. They already understand what their budgets are and what they're willing to spend, that type of thing. And also, one other thing to think about when you're identifying your personas is, do you want your pitch to appeal to sort of like a technical audience? And it doesn't necessarily mean like technical, like software coding or any other type of engineering technical. What it means is, do you want to use more industry jargon or things like that about which target audience you're reaching and all of that? Or is it going to be something for your marketing? Are you trying to reach a marketing manager there that's more interested in what their ROI is and their leads and that type of thing? And so think about those two things and who you're trying to appeal to when you are writing the pitch and the appeal. And then how do you get through to people these days? And this is another question, and it's been pretty interesting. We've been doing eDirectory for quite a number of years now. I think we're upwards of 15 just on eDirectory. The company's 20 years old, doing software development. And things have changed quite a bit over the years. In the old days, I remember our first client came in and sent me a check, if you can believe that, like a physical check was mailed in. And there were a lot of phone calls. This was before screen share and all of in Zoom and all of that. Today, calling is difficult. People don't answer the phone quite as much, and it's difficult to get through. And if you do call them, it's often good to sort of advise them that you are calling or set up an appointment or whatever with that. So But some industries do work on calls still, and you still can get through on the call, and that often is the best way because you have this immediate connection and you can get immediate feedback, et cetera, and change your pitch as you go. The next thing is email, and email is often today a very big part of how most people pitch their directory, doing sort of customized email messages, et cetera, for that. But even today with email, you have to be very careful because the spam filters are out there and they're getting tougher every day, as far as that goes. So your pitch there needs to probably have more informational content for it. Also, depending on the market and the demographic, SMS text messaging, or WhatsApp messaging. WhatsApp is often used outside of the United States, where text messaging is used inside the United States. And there's a whole bunch of rules around doing that and making sure it's not spam, et cetera, for that. WhatsApp has WhatsApp Business now, where there's a bunch of features in terms of sending your pitch there. Also, social media messaging works pretty well, and this is often a part of prospecting where you're sending out personalized messages through LinkedIn, Instagram, et cetera, for that. Other things where you do in-person visits or go to an event and give your pitch that way. And often there's a combination. You're not just going to go do one thing or just do one of these methods. You're going to use a series of them, and you may reach people various times during that process there, for that. So it might be a combination of pitches. And then the next thing to bring up is really understanding the value you're providing when you're crafting your pitch. And so what is this value? And there's a whole bunch of different values that different provide. The core ones often for these guide type sites, these directory type sites, are ability for sponsors to respond and to reviews is a big feature for people, where customers and the general come out there and give feedback, and then people can respond to it. One of the best ones is a seal of approval, in terms of you're on this site, this curated site, this guide, recommended on there, et cetera. Often, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, being part of a best of list or featured in a category, those type of things are good. And then, generally just visibility in general, and credibility, in terms of, yes, you are, the sponsor is a legitimate business and you're helping build that credibility and bring in all these visitors for this through the content, the SEO, all this curated content together will drive in traffic and visitors so individual listings get that visibility. So that's the value that you're often providing. One other tip is testimonials go a long way in terms of your pitch being successful. So work with some of your sponsors to see if you can get some testimonials on there. Make sure you're getting a business, of course. You want happy customers, but anecdotal stories, they really help your message resonate. So think about that and find a plan, put together a plan in terms of what you can do to get some testimonials in with your sales pitch. That goes a long way to helping it resonate with customers. And then write your pitch. I highly recommend you write it down based on different personas, even if there's a lot of overlap, duplication between them. Even small customizations can go a long way to the pitch to make them work for these different personas or different channels. For instance, if you're sending a text message or a WhatsApp message, it's going to be a very short message with some type of a call to action. An email might be a little bit longer, but still a very clear call to action. The phone call, you need to understand what your call to action is. How do you get them to convert? Are you able to pull up a screen share and get them on the screen immediately and then get them to claim their listing right through that? Like, how are you going to do this? Think about that and write up what you're going to do for these different scenarios and these different channels. It's a good way. And now, with that, let me take a quick look at the questions. But with that, we're going to talk a little bit about specific sales pitches and tactics that you can use to get people to engage with the directory, and then obviously to buy a listing for that. And these are things, obviously the big one is be a part of our directory and get visibility for your business. That's the core one. That's your sort of core offering with that. So let me just glance really quickly here at the questions. I think we'll pick up most of these questions. We'll pick these up at the end of the webinar. It looks like some of them are related to the new version and some other things there. So we'll pick those up at the end. But if anybody does have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to drop them into the chat. So one of the biggest tactics that that people use to get people to join the directory, businesses to join, is just, hey, see what's going on. You know, see what people are saying about your business is kind of the classic one, and sign up. And then you send them out a link. You can use. We have a feature to do exports of the imported. So you import data and then you can export, say, mailing lists and send people do a mail merge with an email system and then send people a pitch that way where they can claim their listing. And then a great pitch to put inside of there is see what people are saying about your business, you know, with reviews and more, and then they claim their listing, and then they'll get an email when somebody adds a review. So that's a classic one that works pretty well. Another tactic that typically works as a pitch that we've seen is where you do some type of a survey for different industry categories that give, you know, various information that might be useful for that specific category. And then anybody that responds will get access to the survey results within a certain number of days, and then they need to sign up to the directory to engage with that. And so a classic, I gave an example here of just, you know, Florida fishing charter daily rates and packages. You know, you run a survey for the fishing industry in Florida, and then anybody that is in the fishing industry signs up for the directory to sort of fill out that survey and then be part of that. Local wage surveys and local other surveys, things like, you know, how long local employees are staying with the job, or other types of things like that, pricing surveys, things like that. And you can anonymize the survey results and then send out a report to people. And so that works pretty well doing that. And you can run those quarterly or annually, depending on you know, what kind of information you're doing surveys about. That works pretty well. Another one is just sending out various business tips. What I've kind of realized over the years is that many small businesses often they're very good at the subject that they're experts in, but maybe they don't have skill on some other parts of the business, in terms of, like, maybe they don't, you know, do marketing, or they don't know too much about that, but they're really good at being an auto mechanic, something along those lines. And so if you're able to put together some tips about, you know, how to promote an auto mechanic business, and then send that out and pitch that to, you know, a content marketing part to these businesses, that'll help them sign up for that. And you can tailor these tips. There's often some general ones, but then you can tailor them to specific businesses and give them other content marketing and other resources for that. Another great one that people do is marketing tips, like how to handle a negative review for that. And resource packages are a big one, where you put together some, you know, packages depending on the industry, forms, et cetera. You know, if this was, say you were selling for, say, the wedding industry, and you may put together some forms for, like, a photographer, a questionnaire that they use to evaluate a client and you know, understand what's going to go on with that event. Some things like that. Some resource packages go a long way in terms of content marketing, getting them to sign up for the directory, or paying for you know, some listing or some sponsorship as well, to get all this stuff together. Another big one, actually, this is one of the biggest ones that a lot of people do with eDirectory, is putting together some type of a best of list or an awards program, or even just recognizing individual businesses and categories on a category basis. And the categories could be things like, you know, they could be like, you know, auto repair could be a category, but also they could be things that may go across certain certain things like maybe it's like a luxury travel or luxury something that may encompass both hotels and restaurants, something like that, or family friendly or environmentally sustainable, those types of things. If you can put together different awards, some type of a sort of a certification or some verification, validation, whatever, for that, that really works well for getting people engaged. And you can run those annually, or you can run, you can run different categories on a regular schedule, just to stay on top of it. Um, that really works well. Another one with that is, new or best, how do you say, be featured in our new businesses of the month or something like that. Or featured in our, spotlighted businesses of the month, something along those lines, where just new content on your directory is a great pitch to get people to sign up and order a listing. Those type of things. One other technique that we've seen people use in scale that actually seems to work okay is just verifying if your contact information is okay. And essentially that's something that you can mass blast out, to millions or potentially listings even. Hey, verify your contact information is correct on this directory. And there's a lot of techniques people use. Some of them are a little bit tricky in there, but you can put in the business name, maybe the address, and then fade out some of the phone. Click here to verify phone number or something like that, or click here to verify whatever, things like that work as well for that. And also, if they just want to add in their social media accounts, verify your social media info is included, so you get visibility to your social media in the listing. Things like that can go in with this as well. But that's another technique people have often used to get people to sign up and engage with the directory. And so there's probably 100 more. If anybody has any suggestions, you can drop them in the chat. Let people know as well. But the pitch also is something that you're going to refine over time as you figure out what works and what doesn't work. And then you just got to be persistent. It may be you need to reach out to people more than one time. You may need to, they may sign up after seeing 6 of your emails and 4 of your calls or whatever. You may have to talk to them a couple times, and that's totally fine. That's part of the sales cycle, part of business as far as that goes. So being persistent in any business I've ever seen, in life is typically one of the biggest things. Many people just kind of quit. Things get a little tough and they get tired and quit. And I actually had to I slept on my friend's couch for the first 2 years when I started ARC, a year and a half, and man, that was a long ride at the time doing that. And it really is just about being persistent and making sort of incremental improvements to that. So with this, I'm going to turn it over now, I think, to Gabriel. I'll glance at the chat and see if we have any questions come in, and we'll answer those in a second. But Gabriel's going to show some specific resources and things available on eDirectory.com. We have a number of these things sort of pre-built that you can take and customize and use as you're building out your site. So, Gabriel.
All right. So I will share my screen here. Okay. So yes, I would like to show you guys some resources that we have on the website, eDirectory.com. Actually, yes, I just pasted the URL on the chat here, so you can check alongside with me here. So these are digital resources that we have to help you pitch your directory using the tips that James just mentioned here. So we have some materials, for example, email templates for claiming your list or editor.
Is your screen share showing up okay? Is everybody able to see that? I think the screen share may not be appearing there.
Let me see. How about
okay, there
now?
you go.
Oh yeah, so sorry about that.
Okay, great.
Okay, so this is the page for our digital resources. So in this page, you will find a few elements that will help you pitch your online directory, just following the tips that James just mentioned. For example, we will have email templates for editor review award or claiming your listings. For example, if you work with local businesses, we will have a QR code sticker template for you to change things We have a few badges as well. That way you can use those specific badges on your listings to show up to people that these listings are special, these businesses are good in what they do. Also, we have a presentation with a sales pitch that you can just change names and structure and adapt to your business. And a social media cheat sheet, which is a way to see images and their measures, so you can properly create images for Facebook, for Instagram, for Twitter. So you can download for free everything here on our website. Just showing a little bit, for example, the QR code sticker. This is a PowerPoint file where you can simply change all the information that you need here. So, for example, yeah, you can even make a sticker out of this. If you want to, you can print this, or you can use it as a digital. You can use this, change the QR code to redirect the user to your website, or to, let's say, a list with us page, an advertisement page. So that way the person goes straight to whatever you want on your website. Another one is the presentation. And also this was made in PowerPoint, so it's super easy to edit. And once you're done, you can save as a PDF and send it through email marketing campaigns. So it's super easy. It already comes with a font selected, with images selected. So you just have to change the information here. And if you don't want a page, you can just simply delete it. And then, for example, here, this is for advertising premium listings for your directory. So you can just structure the way you want it. And this is an example for us for the email templates. So just let's say, a text with some inviting to the user that have not claimed their listing yet. So you have a subject already defined, you have the body of the email defined. So you can say, for example, the call to action here, claim your listing now at, and then you paste the listing of that such listing owner, for example, that you want to be claimed. And then you make it personal, as James mentioned. It's super important to not give canned answers, but make it personal, customize, let the customer knows that you were talking specifically to them. So you have a bunch of different email templates here that you can follow, all for free as well. This is another option for Editor's Choice Award. So if you want to run, for example, a competition and an award where people can vote, and then you can give them special badges that you can give as prizes for your best listings as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we have a lot of material here on our website that you can take advantage of and make it your own. I think that's pretty much it.
Great. Yeah, fantastic. So that's all available on eDirectory.com, and you can go down to the footer. So fantastic. I think at this point, we'll open it up for questions. I'll just run down the list here. And again, just to remind everybody, after the webinar, we will have a feedback. If you can give us some feedback or any suggestions in the survey that comes up after the Zoom call ends. Okay, great. The first question came in. I guess this is on the new release. What does the new release have? We will give a full announcement very, very soon, in a couple weeks here. But basically, we're doing some great membership package features where you're able to bundle things like, one listing gets unlimited free event postings or unlimited free classified postings. Also, it has a paywall feature to allow you to hide, to make people sign in or pay for a subscription to view certain content that you can do content restrictions for, as well as a number of other things. It's a pretty big release for us, so we're excited about that. We'll have more information out in the future. And if you are in an older version, I see this question came in, you can reach out to our support after the release comes out, and we'll do an upgrade for you. And if you're on the monthly service version, upgrade costs are included with the upgrades. And then if you're on the own license, there is a, an annual contract, I guess, to get the upgrades for that. So hopefully that answers that. We'll have more coming on that. We're not quite prepared to release it. I just wanted to let everybody know it's coming. Let's see, a question from Betsy. Hi, Betsy. What if the customer is all of the above? I think that refers to the personas that you're crafting the sales pitch for. In that case, probably the sales pitch will, maybe use all the strongest features from all of the above. It may just be your standard default pitch at that point. Really, you'll get a sense of things as you go. And I think you've been doing it a long time, so you probably understand how to talk to people and how to sell them on sort of what you're offering there. Next question. For free listing content, photos, and descriptions, I was grabbing them from the Facebook and website, but is that legal? Will I need to ask for permission from every business? So first, my default disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not able to give you any legal advice, anything like that. I do believe, and so this is just speculation, but I do believe Facebook keeps a copyright of the content or something like that, that anything that's submitted on their networks sort of is theirs. I don't know if it's that big of a deal if you pull some of that off there or not. Often the business's website, they own a copyright on that. And but if you think about it, Google is out there indexing all the sites on the web and showing little blurbs of thing in Google Images and wherever else. And so you're sort of doing the same thing. You're sort of like a curated version of Google as far as that goes. So building out the content, you really do want the content to be unique, though. You want to be the only one on the internet that has this content. But yeah, often you're going to use some of these other resources, I guess, to put together a mashup of that information to build out some really nice content. So anyway, you can ask a lawyer for that, if what you need to do to stay on top of things. But really great, unique content that you can kind of come and base on other sources is a great way to do it. Next question from Alex Andrino. I have a question for Legal Directory. I have looked at a lot of demos and don't see much speaking to lawyer marketing, target market. Can you speak on that? Any ideas? How do I find if I missed it, etc.? Legal Directory, actually, that's a great one to do, especially within niche legal fields. Instead of just like find a general lawyer, like find a specific type of lawyer in a specific type of location, and then you curate that list. Like that's a great guide because people need that. Usually when you get a lawyer involved, it's a big problem. There's a lot of money involved, and so it's sort of a high ticket purchase that people don't do every day. So a guide is a great thing to do. I would look, you can obviously look and see what's out there, but really doing great profiles and curating the lawyer list is a great way to do it to help people make a really good purchase decision. One other tip I just want to mention on the lawyer directory that I've seen people do, just because they're worried that the review section will get, kind of negative, and then they might have some problems or some lawyer doesn't like the reviews and sues and whatever. So you may want to think about changing the reviews to have a positive slant, and people often put in testimonials. They call the reviews testimonials there, and that often helps keep the reviews a little bit more positive, just because that industry is, lawyers are involved. Next question from Terry. Why would people say something about a business that hasn't been claimed? Yeah, usually people go out and write the negative review about a business if they're really upset. Not so much because it's a positive thing. Typically, reviews are often very polarized. Either, oh, I had a really awesome experience, or I had a really negative experience. And often it's the negative ones that people go out there and go out and hit those unclaimed listings for that. And usually they're just out there trying to slam the business. To be honest with you, that's how things typically work as far as that goes. But yeah, you will get more reviews off of a clean business that has a big, beautiful listing, etc. Let's see. Will you be sending out a link or a PDF for this Zoom call? Yes, we will post the Zoom call on the eDirectory.com blog. You can see there'll be a link. There's a link in the footer for the blog, and then there'll be a link in there for this webinar, and we'll have both a recording as well as the links to the resources that Gabriel mentioned that we have pre-written. Next question from Terry. How do you determine who wins the awards? Are there metrics? How do you avoid appearing like discrimination? Yeah, really, it's up to you to set the methodology, and it depends on what type of a market you're going after. If it's a really niche, like industrial directory, you can probably do some voting within the community, and that may give you some good results. You may want to have multiple rounds of it. Often you can do this. There's, various different sort of survey software, Google Forms, those kind of things that you can set up to keep the voting and make sure people don't vote twice. Those kind of things for it. It's really up to you as far as that goes. At the end of the day, your site's brand is on the line in terms of, are you doing like a really great, honest awards or is it all rigged? Like, if the awards are rigged, maybe they're not worth so much. So think about that methodology, how you're going to do it as far as that goes. Next question. How about pitching to users? How can I keep business owners separate from the consumers when it comes to pitching, advertising, et cetera, with website, emails, social media, et cetera? Yeah, so typically people keep two lists. They keep their sort of member list of visitors, and then their which is their consumer list, and then their separate sponsor list. And often the sponsors are members as well because they are part of the community and they buy their services, et cetera. But they just keep two lists. And in eDirectory and the site manager, they have ways to export the data where you can export the data on the listing owners as well as the members, people that sign up just to write a review and aren't owning a listing or anything like that. And then you can target the messaging accordingly, of course. Next question from Terry. Everyone talks about having an offer funnel to funnel people to your site to get them to sign up. What kind of offers would work when you're a directory and not a content specialist? Yeah, so one thing that often works is like thinking about what types of giveaways or discounts and you can get people to sign up with. And it's a good idea to make a partnership or work something out with the sponsors in your directory where they're going to give away something or give away a discount or something like that. And then anybody who signs up for our mailing list today gets 20% off or gets a free whatever, a free ice cream cone or whatever it is with that. And so putting those types of deals together and then firing those out, that works really well. Really, you got to think about what people would potentially be interested in as a hook, as a bait, I guess, to get them on the hook as far as that goes. But all sorts of ideas, and it really depends on the sector. Comment from Lee on persistence. Persistence is good, but don't overdo it. Yeah. And yeah, sometimes things aren't working and you got to change. You got to make a change if it's not working. So that absolutely. Comment from Ty. What about offering a money back guarantee for a certain time scale? Money back guarantee, that's very interesting. Typically, the problem is often what you're selling is getting clear results and measuring those for the end sponsor is a little bit difficult sometimes. And so, at the end of the day, how do you decide what is going to be the cutoff or what are you going to give them to get that money back guarantee? I mean, everybody loves it. And it may just be you slap one up there, money back guarantee for a certain time, and that's that. And you're going to have to give some money back, and it's just part of your cost basis. And so that may work. I don't know. If you want to push that though, is you have it sort of may dilute the message there as well if they're already thinking about the money back guarantee. I don't know. It really depends on the price point as well. But you need to be adding value for people for them to keep coming and get ROI. If they're not getting that ROI, they're gonna churn. You're gonna churn your sponsorships. Gabriel, post a link to the digital resources in the chat. Those will go up on the blog as well. Next comment. A comment from Pete. The pitch I use is offering a free listing on my restaurant directory and encouraging the restaurant to add a deal. to drive traffic. Yeah, that's a great one. Just helping them get visibility. Hey, you're going to get a free deal posting, etc. Can practitioners have QR codes for their listing pages? Yeah, we do have a QR feature, QR code feature, as well as people can just put a QR code up as an image for that using a QR code generator. So there are some things around that. Many people sort of browsing the listings there, they're already on the website, and so they can just click the link. The QR code is often more for like a physical place where you want to bridge that physical to digital type of thing, where you have a physical paper and then you want them to pull that up on the phone, something along those lines. But we do have some QR code options, and yes, people can add those to listings. A question from Heriberto. Do you offer recommendations on where to purchase data from to be imported into the directory? And if so, any business data? Yes, there are a bunch of data vendors out there. I think we have a resources section on eDirectory.com that talks a little bit more about that. So you can go to eDirectory.com and check out the resource, and we have a webinar and stuff on data, I think. But also reach out to our support team if you need to figure out data. It really depends. We have a global user base, and so depending on what country you're in and also what sector, there may be some vendors as well as others. Oftentimes, it's a matter of going to a trade association or somebody specific that has a list instead of just buying it from a data broker. But there are data brokers out there, sure. Next question. Is there any way to slow down the presentation? Yeah, sorry if I'm talking too fast. I'll keep that in mind next time. We're already in minute 42, I guess. I tried to get everything in. So sorry about that. I think you can watch the replay on slow-mo. I will try to speak slower next time. I'll keep that in mind. So sorry about that. Next question. Can you explain more about what a badge and a feature is? Yes. So eDirectory has listings, like a business listing for, say, Joe's Pizza. With that, you can put a badge in the listing, and the badges are things like, these would be like things like family-friendly restaurant or affordable restaurant or editor's choice or best pizza in New Jersey or whatever it is. Thinking about that, and those badges you can upload. You can create your own images, upload them into eDirectory. And we have a setting where they could be available for listing owners to select themselves, where they can choose which badges to add, or the site manager, if it's like an award badge, you can set it where only the site manager, only the administrator, you can set it, add that badge to a listing. So both those options are available. In the resources that Gabriel talked about, we have a bunch of little images and icons for you to create and upload those badges. In the system, there's also a default list as well. Next question. I have a WordPress plugin similar to eDirectory. How hard is it to transfer my website over to you guys? I'm struggling with support there. How is your support? I think our support is great, actually. I think it's the best in the industry. Years ago, I would not have said that. We certainly had some issues, but I think over the last few years, we've really got some pretty good support. And if you have any problems, I certainly want to hear about it. We have a service where we can do the migration for you, or you can export the data, basically to export from a WordPress and import it into eDirectory. And basically eDirectory takes spreadsheet type data, and there's an import process for that to get it up there. If you have a whole bunch of things like image galleries and all of that, you may want to just hire us to do the migration. So lots of options there. But if you reach out to an account manager, we can tell you how to do that. Next question. What version is the new eDirectory? The new eDirectory is version, I think, 13.5. The PHP level, we did an upgrade. I'm not sure on the PHP level, Ty. I'll have to get back to you on that. We are working to get those all super up to date. I'm not sure if this one's above version 8 yet or not, but we are working on that. And that'll certainly be done in the future as well, keeping those versions up to date. Let's see. Next question from Candy. In your marketing call with me, you mentioned doing an interview with the client. Do you have an email template for that? Gabriel, do you know if we have an email template for doing sort of a sponsor interview, a featured sponsor of the week kind of thing? That's a great tactic, actually. Hey, we want to feature you as
Yeah,
sponsor of the week.
we don't have a specific for that, but I'll note that so we can.
Yeah,
make
we'll
one.
note that. We'll make one for
Yeah.
you. They're pretty simple. You can find those types of interviews in a lot of places on the internet. Local newspapers have done those for years and years as well. But we'll put together a template and add that to the resources in the coming weeks here. Is there someone at eDirectory that may have experience with a lawyer directory? Yeah, probably. I think just reach out to our account manager and we can see what's up. I happen to know a little bit. We had a Brazilian client that did legal directory that I knew intimately with that. That actually works pretty well in terms of generating leads for lawyers and stuff like that. And the secret to that was actually putting together a Q&A question form with a plugin that we have, and that actually worked pretty well, where people ask their legal questions and then lawyers get engaged, etc. Yeah, but reach out to us. We can note that. We'll note your name there and reach out. I like the idea of the awards email to all the database. Don't know how we could do that. How to do that. Yeah, to set up an awards, it's basically like, hey, we're having an awards, best pizza in Miami, Florida, vote for these listings, and then you send that out, and people do voting or whatever you want to, however you want to run it for that. You can decide how to do it actually. So, next question: how about Spanish content? Can you support that by way of SEO on the back end, search engine optimization, header tags, footer? If we provide the information and programming. Yeah, absolutely. So eDirectory is multilingual, and we have a whole bunch of features in there in terms of configuring all the tags and all of that stuff as far as SEO goes. That's in the site manager area, and you can log in and you can do it all yourself, or if you have an SEO company, they can access it and do that for you specifically, and that'll work in Spanish. What about the icons that are on there? What are those for? The icons are for creating those badges and awards, and often you can customize those and upload those. Next question, one more. Can we have events listed here? And if so, can we monetize the events by selling tickets or splitting ticket revenue with somebody else on the platform? Yes, absolutely. So there's an event directory where you can add event listings, and then you can put in terms of taking payment, you would take those through a third-party service, but that's certainly something you can do. And then the splitting the revenue, you probably need to figure out a way to get that done. But all the payment processing for people buying tickets, that would be done by some external event ticketing service or something along those lines for that. Next question. What does the business get? Basically a mini website or one page with their logo or social media or phone number, website URL address. Yeah, so the listings are essentially a little mini website. People go in and search for something like pizza in Miami, and then the listings there's a summary view and a detail view. The detail view is sort of a mini website with multiple tabs that you can configure. You can configure all the data on it. I think probably we need to give you a demo of the platform. So maybe we can note your name there. We'll note your name and come back and reach out to you and see if you'd like a demo. Next question, not sure I can ask this here, but seems to be a limit on keywords you can add to categories in the listings. Is there a way to include a large number of keywords so people can find the listings they need? I don't know if that number is configurable out of the box in terms of how many keywords could be added. Is it configurable in terms of, I don't know if the listing levels have different, it may not be. The reason we set it how it was set is to make sure like every restaurant would love to be in the hotel category. And so you got to be a little bit careful about people just sort of spamming it with the content there so that the search experience is good. If you do want that customized though, or change, reach out to our support team, because it's a very simple setting to customize to add more keywords if you need them. There may be a little bit of cost for it, but it's probably pretty nominal if that needs to be done. Q&A plugin. Yeah, we have a simple plugin to do Q&A where just random people can ask questions and random people can answer them. That worked pretty well as a traffic generator for directory type sites as well. You can check that out in the plugins area. Next question. Do you have a list of listing categories needing help to have the most accurate category names? I don't know if do we have a standard categories? I think we do somewhere, right, Gabriel? Reach out to our support if you need a list of
Yes,
categories.
we have a package with a few, actually a lot of categories. We have
Okay,
that.
great. And make sure you think about SEO with categories as well. Let's see. Comment from Ty. I still think that the contact form needs to be on the side panel and customizable. Yeah, that's good feedback. I note that, and we'll see if we can fix that widget up. Not hard to do at all, I think, to get that done. Next question, since we're on the topic, do you yourselves give badges and awards to your customers to be posted on our directory? No, we don't do any of that, but we have resources for you to use. Like we can give you the icons and all of that, and then you set up the badges. I think there's a couple default ones loaded in the platform, but they're real easy to set up. It'll take you a second. Reach out to support if you need any help with that. Next question. Do you have a limit on how many practice areas you can list or sub-practice areas for a lawyer directory? Those are categories. And so the directory system has up to, I think, 4 levels of hierarchy. And then within each level, you can have unlimited categories. So it's plenty, I think, for whatever you're trying to do there as far as that goes for the category structure. Let's see. How can we speed up the directory apart from using Cloudflare? So we've actually done some work on the later versions in terms of just getting the page load speed down and being really tight. So that may be part of it. Otherwise, I think we may just need to look at it as far as the speed. One other thing to really think about is if you have a lot of visual content like images, making sure that those are optimized so it's not a really heavy page load. Also with the widgets, if you put up a zillion widgets, it's off a heavier page. So you can think about making the content on the pages lighter as well. Next question. Is it ideal to have filled in all the SEO keywords in each page before we publish the first time, or can this be done after without being dinged by Google? Do you want to answer that one, Emerson or Gabriel? You guys are our marketing sort of experts here in terms of, does the content need to be done or should they release it and keep working on it? You're always going to keep working on it, but what do you guys think there?
I can start the answer, but Gabriel can do a more complete one. But if the keywords or the content in your page does not relate to the other, Google will ignore that. You won't get penalized if it's not relevant. But if you do keyword stuff and then it's possible to get some penalization. But Gabriel can go deeper on this topic.
Well, if I am making a page, I would go over it and if I know the topic, if I know the subject of the page, I would fill in the SEO fields and add the content. Yeah, remember that everything has to match. I mean, Google doesn't use only keywords for ranking. It uses content primarily. So the content must be good and the keywords will be just a support for that.
Yeah, and I'll just sort of I'll give my opinion, I guess, from the business side of things, which is every day you're not live with your content. You know, your content is sitting in the warehouse. That's bad. You want to get your content in front of people. So I'd say launch this thing as soon as you can, improve things. It obviously needs to be at a level where it's going to be a useful guide for the visitor. But I would focus on the visitor first. Is it a useful listing? If it's a useful listing, post the thing and you can come back and update the SEO later. Well, great. So thanks, everybody. If anybody has one last question, pop them in. Otherwise, thanks for your time today. And always, if you have any trouble, don't hesitate to reach out to our support team. And there will be a short survey after the webinar if you can give us some feedback. And okay, I think that's it for questions. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.